Welcome to episode 4 of the Aspiring STEM Geek. In this episode, I talk with Taziamoma Abraham, a software engineer and cloud developer. We talk about a variety of topics, including machine learning, artificial intelligence, which languages we like to program with, cloud computing, dealing with bad professors, and Taz's favorite anime. Hope you enjoy. Taziamoma Abraham, aka Taz. Welcome to the podcast. How are you doing?
Thanks for having me. I'm doing great. Doing real good.
Thanks for coming on. It's been a little bit.
It has. It's been what?
Like a year almost.
Yeah. Almost a year. Yeah.
But I'm going to ask you about some of your travels and stuff like that once we get towards the end of it. But it's great to see you. One of the first things I want to start off. So you're a hardcore STEM guy, got your computer science degree in engineering, or it's computer engineering, right?
Computer science, actually.
Okay, cool. Well, when did you start messing around with computers? As a kid, or did it come later?
So I used to play a lot of games when I was a child, and I really liked playing games. I was on the computer all the time, but at some point you get bored. And so I started pretty much, how do they make these games? And then, sorry, my nephew, Trunks, go downstairs. Go downstairs. Go downstairs, Trunks. Anyways, so,
I started like from my bed, like Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, his name is literally Trunks. My sister named him Trunks from Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, for real? Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's wild, but yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's crazy. No, so yeah, and I was like, man, how do they make these games, right? So then I started like figuring out, like, okay, how do you make a game? I started looking up like, how do you make a game, and I got all this like crazy stuff, Microsoft X and A, and I was like, yo, way out of my, you know what I'm saying? And then I took a step back, and then I was like, well, how do you make the website that hosts the games, right? And then I got into like forums, discussion boards. And then there's a big one called PHPBB and MyBB. Okay. I used to use those a lot. And then so forums, you could actually extend it, right? So it was like you install it, but if you wanted features, you can install mods and themes and stuff like that. And I was like, how do I make my own mod? And then I started learning PHP and HTML, CSS, because that was the building blocks of those discussion boards. And then I just fell in love with it, and the rest is history.
Nice. Were you? I never played Minecraft. By the time it came out, I was just like first-person shooters. That's all I was doing. Do you ever do the Minecraft servers, anything like that?
I never built my own server, but I played it on my friends' servers. I used to love Minecraft, but I liked Minecraft better whenever it was limited multiplayer, right? Like it was cool playing with friends, but sometimes they're a distraction. Because I have this project I want to build, and they're like, oh yeah, let's go do this and do that, and I'm like, I don't really want to. So I would spend long nights just playing by myself. Or I had this one friend I would play with, but we were kind of the same, where it's like, hey, we're playing together, but at the same time, we kind of want to do our own thing. So it was like, we're in the same server, but we're not really interacting with each other. We kind of have our own separate, areas.
Yeah, it's interesting. I never got into it. I mean, for some of the ones that I guess got popular later on, not quite related. It's Fortnite. Played that for a little bit. And I remember my friends were playing, and it's like, you can't pay me enough. But I tried it, and it was fun. You could some of the mechanics were cool, like building stuff, protect yourself. And then I even played Roblox at one point.
So you're one of those?
No. So I was like playing with my nephew, and it's like okay, that's it. But I mean, it was kind of interesting because it looked like you could do a bunch of different stuff. There was a cops and robbers game that I played.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember that was big, but I can thankfully I can confidently say that Roblox, I have never played Roblox. Okay. I was just never interested in it. Honestly, because all the weird kids were playing it. So I was like, yeah, I definitely don't want to be like them. So I just never wanted to play it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously don't know what's up with the kids anymore, but it kind of seems like it's elementary school because that's, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, must have the nephew must have been in like middle school, maybe, but I think he was in elementary school at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. It's mainly elementary school kids play it. And I mean, now adults, they don't play, but like they write software, or those people who own the servers, they're like grown men. But you know, a lot of kids are playing it, so they're like raking in literally millions from these kids just playing their servers, buying, spending daddy's credit card and all that.
Wait, so they have Roblox servers too?
Yeah, it's
I
it's
didn't know
it's an entire back when I was younger, none of this shit existed, but now it's like an entire ecosystem. Like
that.
you can literally build like AAA games, quote unquote, within Roblox. But like it doesn't look like Roblox. It looks like a regular game, but it's extending the Roblox ecosystem and framework.
I'll have to check that out. I'll definitely embed it into the video here just so people can see. But yeah, that's really cool. I mean, it's kind of like going off a topic, but something I've been thinking about. I know it's funny because we met each other when DALL-E and then eventually ChatGPT was like May 2022. That's when we met, and I remember DALL-E was coming up, and I was messing around with it, and then like it took me. I didn't really try ChatGPT till later on. But at this point, it's pretty decent. Like it's a good Google, especially when it comes to coding.
Oh yeah,
like I'm trying to pick up. I think I mentioned to you like Go or Golang, that language. So I'm learning it. I'll go through the documents, but sometimes I just want a quick response that's really specific, and ChatGPT is good. But something I heard on a podcast is people are, I guess it's the developer mode of ChatGPT, and they're writing these apps using ChatGPT as the back end to do some stuff. And they're it's not like they're trying to build a huge company or anything like that, because it's like building your software on top of other person's software if you want to do enterprise level stuff, or like something like Facebook. That's not really feasible, but they were saying how some people are making millions of dollars just making these apps, putting them on Google, the Google Store, Apple Store, and people are using it. So it's something that like I kind of wanted to look into. Just like, is there any small business?
Yeah, so it's actually interesting you said it, because like it's kind of like you mentioned, right? So they're just leveraging AI, right? So especially nowadays, AI is just a buzzword, right? Everybody just screams AI. Oh, AI, AI this, but they don't really understand it. All you have to do is just, leverage the open AI API. So what they do is, right, and this is actually pretty interesting. So ChatGPT, they have this thing called agents where you can pretty much build an app, quote unquote, build an app. But all it is, you just said, hey, ChatGPT, here's this context. I want you to act like a life support or a chatbot. And then they just connect that to their app, right? So for example, let's say I'm talking to a pool company. I'll load the pool company's products into this agent, all their products, their documentation, blah, blah, blah. And then I sell it to the pool company. Hey, I can create you a custom trained agent for your business. Now, granted, yes, it's much more powerful. It's AI, it's blah, 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 right? But at the same time, it's not, they didn't build the AI. They're just leveraging open AI. You're just repackaging it and selling it. So if you know how to find clientele and people who are not as tech savvy to do it themselves, you have a marketer. These bots sell for like $4,000 a piece.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good idea, at least for something small scale. And
definitely small scale.
Yeah, but I mean, small scale, if you can make additional income, why not?
Do what you gotta do. I even tried making a chatbot thing.
Yeah, it's like training it yourself, or kind of just through Open AI's the API.
Through the API. So there's a website, it's called Vercel, and you can pretty much create these chatbots. And I have a buddy of mine, he works for a pool company, and his boss was like, hey, we're dropping calls from customers, or the calls are way too long. Like, these are very easy selling points. Like, hey, the calls are taking too long. Well, just have AI answer the questions, right? You can't support the influx of requests. We'll have an AI because there's a lot of things that people call that are 2-second lookup, right? Hey, my thing won't turn on. How do I? Should I restart it? Like, these are like a lot of precepts that the AI can handle for you. And if it's specific, okay, maybe you can talk to support, right? But you can eliminate 80% of fluff from customers just by simply presenting them with the information get that quick.
Yeah, on the voice thing, it's definitely that seems like the next thing that could be disrupted.
Yeah.
I was listening to another thing. I think OpenAI recently held some sort of developer conference or just a conference in general, and they were doing their voice. They have a voice AI, and apparently the latency is really, really short now, where it can almost.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's real time, but apparently it's pretty close to real time, which is all those call centers. They're
gone. They're gone. It's damn near. I've tried it. It's damn near real time. Not only is it real time, it's real time in whatever language you want it to be.
Really?
So I'm talking. I speak Lingala, right?
Yeah. And, I was gonna ask you.
Right, I'm from Congo, and I'm like, let me see what ChatGPT really knows. You know what I'm saying? I started speaking to Lingala and started speaking back. I'm like, whoa, it's crazy because Lingala does not like a lot of written documents on it, right? It's not like French, where it's like there's years and years of history. It's whatever limited information it has. It was able to communicate to me as if we were buddies from the hometown. You know what I'm saying? So it's just crazy how it's working. But if Open AI or AI is not going to take people's jobs. It's going to take the jobs of people who don't adapt, right? Because if you're a call center owner and you say, all this AI can do what my people can do, right? Well, what you got to do is you have to incorporate that, right? If that means you got to lay people off, hey, that's you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. You as a call center person, if you're a worker and you realize, oh man, this thing can potentially replace me, what is your next step? Pick up another skill, preferably one that's hard to replace, right? So that you don't fall into the issue.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. And I think that it's kind of like you ever hear like the term Luddite? I can't remember.
Yes. Yeah. Luddite. Yeah. People who don't like technology.
Yeah. I think it was in France. It was like some sewing machine that they came up with, and they're like, yeah, no, we need to destroy these. But yes, some job. I think it's overall. I think new jobs will be created. Some jobs will go away. It's like any technology. I don't know. And then, something I don't think I've talked about it yet on this podcast, but like AGI, I'm just very skeptical of that coming anytime soon. But I'm going to say it's like I haven't been doing machine learning for a super long time. There's obviously PhDs and stuff that spent their whole adulthood looking at this, but it's just linear algebra right now. It's math, maybe, but it's
interesting you mentioned that, right? Because back to what I said, people use AI because the buzzword, they don't really understand it, right? So what we have is not AGI, right? Yeah. ChatGPT is not a general AI, right? It's a GPT, right? So back in my job, right? One day we were doing a tour. I work, my job, we handle creating servers for data centers and, overall. So they wanted to take us on a tour in the labs, and we went to like the lab. Like I'm talking, this year was locked down tight, like need to know, and they were pretty much showing us like this was before like the ChatGPT boom, right? This was before, and so imagine a large room, like I'm talking like a really large room, and from one side of the wall to the other is just lined up with big ass server racks, right? Huge servers.
You ever see Silicon Valley, the guy in the data center? And he's just like bored.
Oh yeah. It was actually almost like that. It was crazy, hilarious. Right? I feel like I was in a meme. Yeah. So I'm talking wall to wall servers, right? And I'm like, man, like, what are we doing all this for? Because it's not in a regular data center. It's like separate. He's like, all of this it's using AI, general AI, to try to synthesize this tiny ass part. Like this part couldn't have been bigger than like a few millimeters, right? And what he was basically saying, he was like, this is how far behind we are when it comes to what we call general AI. Like we need all this power just to try to synthesize this tiny little thing. Yeah. So it's like whenever people talk about AI and general AI, like there's a big discrepancy because a GPT, you're literally just asking, it's just pre-trained on data, right? Yeah. Like general AI is expected to be able to synthesize new ideas, even when it doesn't have, all the information. So
yeah, no, it's wild. And like you're saying, like that energy needed, something
right.
that's been coming up in the news is I think Microsoft first, they signed a contract it's in Pennsylvania. It's this nuclear reactor. They're going to apparently restart it. So they signed a deal, and then Google allegedly signed a deal with a company, and they that one's a little different because they're building these things called modular nuclear reactors, which are smaller. And then after that, Amazon just came out like a day or two ago, and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna do the same thing. Google. We're gonna get nuclear power." So it's interesting. It's funny.
Power hungry.
Yeah, that's. And another interesting fact is when I was looking this up for my tech news I was doing, so when you ask a ChatGPT a question, it still needs to conduct some sort of inference, and the compute or the energy used to make that inference, I think it's more energy expensive relative to a Google search. I don't know the magnitude off the top of my head, but you're consuming more energy typing into ChatGPT compared to doing just a regular Google search. So just another fun fact. Maybe that'll change. Like the thing about GPUs is they weren't originally specifically made for machine learning because like we both like video games. So like GPUs were for like Pixar to render the cartoons and everything for the movies, and then eventually GPUs were rendering video games in the late 90s. So it's really good for machine learning, but it could be better.
Yep. I think it's kind of like mining, right? When everybody was mining crypto, like GPUs wasn't intended to mine, but they were good at it, right? Yeah. But then we started creating ASIC miners, right? Which were much better than GPUs. So I think that's what's going to happen next. It's like, okay, well, we use GPUs now, but someone's gonna be like, wait, what if we just create something that's specific for machine learning and AI, which is going to make it significantly much more efficient, right? And then you're gonna be selling these quote unquote, I don't know, like machine learning blocks or something like that, where it's like its sole purpose is machine learning, right? Because you see how a GPU works, it has like thousands of CUDA cores, but like it's not specific for machine learning. It's not optimized for that. But if you create something that is, like we might see the next leap in AI once we have that block created. I think that's what's going to let us leap to the next level.
You'll get an AWS instance or Google Cloud instance or whatever, Azure. You're going to be able to access it. Yeah, the cloud is cool. Since you mentioned crypto, I'm just curious because I did not hear about crypto until super late. I was still working in finance, and I kind of like, okay, and all my friends that love to gamble, they got really so it's like like knowing them and how much they love gambling and working in finance. I was like, I don't get it. I'm not gonna touch it. But did you ever try to mine or?
So I kind of got into it late too because I was very skeptical. I was like, what are you talking about? There's no way, like, because think about it, like you could ask anybody, hey, what is a cryptocurrency, right? And nobody could ever give me like it's
straight answer.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I don't trust that. But I got into Dogecoin right before it blew up, but I was skeptical, so I only put a couple thousand off of it, and then my dumb ass, I was like, you know what? Yeah, it might actually work. I put more money into it when it hit 70 cents, and that shit crashed. Yeah. I was like, damn. But I pulled out though, luckily, before I lost too much money. But I ended up only making like $1,700. So it was nothing. But
I mean, better than losing money.
Better than losing. Yeah, a lot of people lost money. But man, it made some overnight millionaires, like hundreds of millions. And I just love when I read through Reddit and people are like, oh, uh, ah, this dude I was reading, he's suing his management company, his like portfolio managers, because he had $470 million that he pretty much got overnight, right? Because he got lucky out doing some shit coins and 470, right? So in his brain, he was like, you know what? Let's 10x it one more time. Okay, first of all,
Yeah, I'm gonna become a billionaire.
like he put all in. I think it was like 17 times in a row, right? And he made it all the way to 470. This is $500 million.
Yeah.
And then he talked to his advisor, and his advisor, they're like, I think you should at least take some money out, right? He said, nah, right? He lost, when I say he lost everything, zero. And then he's suing he's suing the managers because he's saying that they didn't try hard enough to stop him from making that bad decision.
Yeah, that's wild. Those I never really read those Wall Street bet things, but that's on you. It's like it's not. You don't even have to even work in finance to be like, okay, let me like you said, take some money off the table. Just in case, like if you want to be like, just whatever you initially put in, take that out, and you still need to pay taxes on that too. So
exactly.
Yeah, so it's I don't know, man. That's
crazy.
It is funny because I remember that Bitcoin and so many of my friends were talking about, like you were saying, kind of the hypothetical money, and then eventually, I mean, it just came up in regular conversation, and they're like, kind of lost it, but
missed that train. You know, it's funny. I'm telling you, when I was telling you about this actually pains me. Like, this is actually a really hard story to tell. So back when I was in the discussion boards, right? I remember this dude, he created a topic. I was young, right? I had to be like 14. I was young enough. Crypto.
Okay.
I was young enough to not have any money at the time.
Yeah.
But I had a little bit, because I used to build websites and sell them. So I had a little bit of money, but like it wasn't like a lot. I remember this dude, he talked about Bitcoin. And hey, it's $1. You guys should buy it, blah, 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 blah. And then like, I could have sworn I bought some because I was like, hey, it's $1, right? But then like I scoured through all my emails and I was like, oh my God, like, where did I buy this coin at? I scoured everything and I went through my old hard drive. I'm like, bro, I had to have it. But I just couldn't remember if I actually bought it or not. Where I'm not, I would rather think that I didn't buy it, because if I did buy some and then lost it,
spend all day going through Gmail from over a decade. Yeah. Oh man, I think Gmail's been deleting emails too. So
that shit is gone, man. I don't remember if it was my same email from 10 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, I do know one person that mined. It wasn't when it was $1. I think it was maybe in the hundreds, but I think it was a similar situation. Lost the wallet, and it's tough.
It's tough. That's why it's like sometimes too much security is, there has to be that balance, right? It's like, okay, like you can do all this, but if you lose this, it's like a single point of failure. Yeah. If you lose this, like you're done. But on the flip side, if you're storing a server, it can get hacked, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I use a crypto broker. I mean, I don't really have much in crypto, but it was like, you never know. I'll put some money in it, just diversification. Yeah. So my big loss was GameStop. I owned GameStop.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I owned it before. This is another one that pains me, because I like similar situation. You count the hypothetical money that you lost, and it's like, yeah. So I worked at a finance company before I got into tech and before being in grad school. And one of the people on the floor, he wasn't part of our company, but he was doing investing for some high net worth individuals. And he had a investment thesis. GameStop's undervalued. I think it was in the single digits then. So somewhere between maybe $10, but somewhere between $10 to $5. And I held it for years. And at a certain point, like, everybody on the finance floor had a bunch of different investors from different companies. We'd get in together for lunch. He'd talk about it. Everybody else would be like, nah, it's like, what are you doing? And eventually, like, I sold. I was like, oh, like, I think it was maybe break even. And then it happened, and I was looking. Crazy. Yeah, I was looking at my account. It was like I missed on so much money, and that's I never. Crazy. But it's also, I mean, for people, I think there's a lot of problems with finance. The biggest issue is you can be. So somebody in my company told me this. This is a really good quote she gave me, is you can be right, but for the wrong reasons. So you can come up with this investment thesis to, oh, this is why GameStop is worth $15, or this is why Bank of America is worth $40. And then the investment thesis is like, oh, GameStop can run as a business for a decade or 2 decades. Over time, they'll make enough money where their shares are going to be worth this amount of money, and that's why we think it's worth it. If you went in and tried to explain as an investment thesis what actually happened, hey, there's a bunch of people on Reddit that know that there's the short interest, meaning people are shorting or betting against the stock because they think it's going to go down further, and then a short squeeze is going to happen where the price is pushed up so much that people have to keep buying and buying to cover the short. And then it just goes up to $100, $200, $300. That's a wild thing. Nobody would ever believe you. So I guess the point I'm making is finance is random. And I think the old school, this is how you value a business, this is why it's going to go up, it doesn't work. There's literally an infinite amount of reasons why a stock will go up and down. And it gets even harder when you try to do it over multiple years, because anything could happen. So
anything happens.
It's wild. Well, I do still want to talk about, so you got into computers through gaming, and you eventually went to, is it Fort Sam Houston for college?
Just Sam Houston.
Sam Houston. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, Sam Houston.
Yeah. So you studied computer science. Was there a class there? It was like, this is awesome, I love this class. Or were they all like that? I have to get this degree. I need to get this over with as quickly as possible.
So you have to understand, whenever I went to school, I already knew how to program, right? So I was literally in my classes bored out of my mind. Right? I remember we started learning about variables, and I was like, do we really need 3 days to go over variables? And so I just never really cared. My GPA in school was dog shit. I had a 2.5, right? Because I would not do any assignments, because I'm not sitting here on a 5-hour assignment on a snake game. Right? I do complex websites before. I'm not good at a snake game. So I just show up, pass the test, and then go home, right? So that, obviously you can pass the test, but if you don't do the assignments, but I didn't care about that, because I was like, hey, look, at the end of the day, when I want to get hired, all they want to see is that piece of paper. They're going to give me some sort of weird assessment. I'm going to pass the assessment, I'm going to get hired, right? They're not going to be like, oh, did you not pay in your data structures class? You're not going to use any of that. But I did have one class that the word hate is probably not even strong enough to begin to just describe it. I had this dude. Oh my, I forgot his name. Dr. something.
Dr. something.
Dirtbag. Dr. Dirtbag. We'll call him that.
All
Dr. Dirtbag.
You can look up his Rate My Professor right now.
See, but the problem is, right? I did. And he was the only teacher that taught this class. He was the longest tenured teacher, and he was the person who founded the computer science department at my school.
That's
right?
Wild.
So it's like, okay, this guy must be, he must be smart. And granted, he was very smart. But what that meant was, it doesn't matter what he did, he was going nowhere, right? So Remember, first day of class, he's like, hey, he pulls up a spreadsheet. He's like, hey, look, for the past 10 years, this has been my class failure rate. Proud. Like, it's always the majority of people drop or fail their class, right? He's happy about it. I'm like, bro, this guy's crazy. But it's like one of those classes is a requirement. Like, you literally, everybody in a computer science goes through his course.
That's why, because if it's like a majority failing, that means people have to take it multiple times with him.
Yep. Yeah. So everybody knew him. So he was taught. Okay. Have you heard of Ada, the language?
Yeah.
You have, right? Have you used it?
I don't know. I know it's an older language, right?
I'm talking ancient dinosaur. I remember I saw videos of T-Rexes using Ada. All right.
Okay, I thought so.
This man said if you use the scale. If you use Ada, the highest you can get is an A. Right. If you use Java, the highest you can get is like a B. Right. If you use anything else except for Python, the highest you can get is a C. If you use Python, the highest you could get was an F. And then you would have to argue why you deserved a passing grade. He hated Python for whatever reason. Like, he told some weird-ass story about how some dude screwed him over because he made a project in Python and beat him. So I'm like, so you just salty, you lost, and now you hit a whole programming language over it.
I can see you being like, if it's computer science, I can see like, oh, this is too high level. It's dynamically typed. You need to learn how to manage memory with C or C++. But yeah, having just hating Python is I would we would not get along because I love Python still.
Yeah, I love Python. I didn't even know about Python at the time, but the more he talked about how much he hated it, I was like, damn, I gotta learn Python. And now I love Python. So anyways, like, these dude's labs were impossible, right? So I remember this one lab. Oh my God. I spent 15 hours on his lab. Like, not like all at once, but like, he would give you a month for the lab, right? And it's funny because whenever he said, oh, I'm gonna give you a month, you think, oh, plenty. No, trust me, you need 2 months for these labs because one, you're using Ada, you're trying to use Ada, a language that nobody knows. And then his questions are not like, hey, I want you to build this, right? No, like, literally, I looked up his prompts online. I literally hired, Chegg?
Yeah.
I hired Chegg professor, the Chegg people.
Do you know Ada?
I was like, bro, can you help me with this? Bro, BM, it got so bad that he refunded me my money because he was like, yo, this is impossible even for me. And so I'm like, bro, if you can't do it. So I chose Java because I was like, you know what? I'm not finna fuck with Ada. Okay. I spent 15 hours on his lab. I'm talking about, like, it has to be at least 1,000 lines of code. So he told us to print it out. He hated compilers. You could not like submit it to him online, nothing. You had to print out the code. Let me say why he was smart. You turn it in, right? This is me. You try to walk away. Oh, no. You don't need to walk away. I'll grade it right now. I'm like, huh? I'm like, that come again? What do you mean getting graded right now? This was him. Like, he's just flipping through my like 30 pages of code. Wild. Depend, he'll do this. We'll circle, right? No notes. Doesn't tell you why you missed it, why he's circling it. This man give me a 15. 1 5. 1 5.
Like 15%.
On a 15-hour lab that it took me 15 hours just. And then it's not even the worst part, right? It's not even the worst part. I needed an 18 on that lab to pass the class. I needed an 18. I begged this man for 3 points. I said, look, like, your labs are hard. Like, look, like, you didn't even tell me what I did wrong. Like, I don't even know what I did wrong. So I was like, nah, you know what? He said, no, try again next semester. He laughed in my face. I should have smacked his old ass. But look, I emailed his boss, I emailed up to the dean. They say, hey, there's nothing we can do about it. This guy, and that's how I found out that he started he founded the computer science because they're like, hey, this dude, he's been here for 10,000 years. Yeah, like, he's like, and they basically says, I sympathize with you, Taz, but there's not a thing I can do for you. I'm like, bro, you're the dean. What you mean there's not a thing you can do for me? So like I was so pissed. I was like, who? I didn't know where to go, but I was like, so I just had to retake the class. But when I retook the class, every day in class, I would look at him like this. I looked at him. He's like, "Hey, Taz, you always look so angry." Because he didn't remember who I was. He didn't remember that he gave me a 15 on an assignment. He didn't care.
Yeah, that sounds like a tenured professor.
And from that moment on, I hated the word tenure. Yeah. I don't even want to hear.
No, I agree with you. It's a problem. I mean, I have a lot of problem with colleges, but tenure's one of them. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm applying right now to be a part-time adjunct professor in statistics. So I'm like, yeah, I'm excited for it. I've wanted to do it. We'll see. Hopefully it works out. If not, maybe a year or two down the line. But yeah, I'm kind of that. It's I don't know. I'm not going to say teaching's easy, but I think it's just very. It might be because some of the professors that like tenure is part of the issue. If you don't have any incentive to help your students,
yeah, you don't care.
But no, I'm kind of looking forward to it, and it's going to be at a community college, which is I'm kind of my first degree was from a community college, but I'm excited for it. I actually have my interview tomorrow, so I'm
oh nice.
Yeah, I'm hoping I could be like, hey, like I know you have everything. They said that there's some flexibility with how you can do the class, so I'm really hoping like, hey, extra credit if you want to do Python and just have some simple notebooks. Because my whole thing is the statistics class I had in undergraduate, it was fine. It wasn't, but it was just literally just theory. And it's like theory for some people. If I don't know, I've met super geniuses that could just look at things and they understand it,
right?
And it just clicks for them. I think for the majority of people I've met, you need an application. It's like, okay, I mean median mode, standard deviation, okay, but what does that mean?
Yeah, why should I care? Yeah.
And then once you have like actual applications for it, and the great thing now is Python is a great way to, okay, this is mean median mode. You can do everything from, you want to figure out polling and get people's like opinions on elections or something like that. Understanding statistics is important, or understanding statistics for, it could be social media things like you're building an app. You want to find the traffic on your site, the average number of visitors over a rolling period. It could be important. So the cool thing now, like compared to like 60, 70 years ago, when it's just literally people writing everything down on a paper, there's way more applications for statistics. Well, I think it applies to everything, but that's why I studied it. But
I mean, statistics, I just never been, I mean, I'm a math guy, kind of, but like, I don't know, statistics, I just never found it like stimulating. Because when I took it in school, you know, it was always those dummy questions like, Charlie has 5 apples. So it's like, I never really saw like why it's important, you know. And I think that's important whenever you're, especially learning things or trying to major in something. You know, I took it as an elective, so I didn't care. But like, if I was majoring in statistics, I think it's important to like, you know, stress real world examples about, hey, this is the theory, but let's give you more of the practical, because this is what you're actually going to, you know, go through in life in your field.
Yeah, no, exactly. And like with machine learning machine learning AI is becoming even more important. I'm working on something called the imputation model. And if you have a data set, you're missing some data points, there's different approaches. A super simple approach is if you have array of values, they could just be columns of something in a pandas data frame. You just take the average and then you impute or fill in the missing values. Then that's a simple way to do it. But then you have more machine learning to do it. And it's like, oh, okay, you can use. So, yeah, but it's cool because they gave me the textbook to kind of review before the interview. And I was reading through the first chapter, and they mentioned it in the first chapter. It's like, oh yeah, I got something to talk about in the interview. I'm literally
Yeah.
doing this right now at
Yeah.
work. So
That's
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
So
No.
how is that gonna work with you though? Like if you're part time, like is there like whatever you pick a class to like a time slot in a class?
Yeah, so it'd be like Statistics 101, their version of the basic statistics course. And I kind of, I'm remote. I think you were at one point, but Amazon's kind of changed the tune on that. But yeah, so it's like one of those things. Like I opened up my window today, and I was just like, it's like I really need to get out. Like because like between just working and coding, and then coding after I'm done working, I just like I need human interaction more. So that's part of it. Where it's and then I kind of want to teach, but yeah, so it would hopefully just be single class. I teach sometime in the evening after I'm done work, and yeah, it's something I've wanted to do for a little bit, but it's finally like I have enough experience that's like, okay, I'm not just a random kid. I actually know some stuff at this point.
And you're gonna be is it gonna be I'm losing my train of thought.
That's cool.
Teaching
statistics.
Yeah, damn. I was trying to feel like, are you gonna be damn it, I lost my question.
That's cool.
Oh, are you gonna be remote or is it in-person class?
I'm hoping in person, but I told them like I do remote or in person. I think one of because I don't know if you were out of school by the time COVID hit, right? Or
no, COVID hit my last semester.
Okay. That's funny. My brother, it was the same thing, so it really didn't really matter to him. But during my grad degree, it was COVID university. Everything was remote. And compared to, and a lot of other stuff changed. And it was kind of hard to meet professors or even remotely, which is weird because you could just Zoom with me. But everybody kind of went on break during that time. But compared to my undergraduate, where there were professors I like to go to talk to and just hang out, talk, because there's a lot of boring stuff I'm into, like economics and geopolitics, which it's like, yeah, exactly. Like it's like just some very weird stuff that nobody but academics would like. So it was like, oh, nice. I could talk to you about this. Like, don't get me wrong. It's not like I was doing that all the time. I had time to party and stuff, but it was nice having just like somebody that knew something and could engage in a intelligent conversation. So that's kind of what I'm hoping is like give some ideas and maybe learn some stuff from the students. And I don't know, like community college. It's kind of hard to. I think the students were similar to my undergrad as well, my 4-year college, but it's more, I think, purpose driven in some. Like you're there, you're not really living on campus. You just bang out a degree, maybe go to a 4-year afterwards. But it's more. I don't know. At least for me, it was more focused on the business part of it, just getting it done, rather than the whole social aspect. But
I agree.
All right. So I know you've had some experience in various jobs from cloud to software engineering. How do you eventually get into cloud, or what were some of the roles that you've had in cloud? Because it's another big thing. I think it's been at this point, it's not a hot buzzword anymore. AI's taken over, but in terms of everybody uses cloud now, whether it's like Databricks or AWS or Azure. Yeah. So how'd you get into it? Or what was the kind of your first experience working in the cloud environment?
So I was working for HPE, and
Hewlett Packard Enterprises.
Yeah, Hewlett Packard Enterprise. I was working on a project, and they wanted me to Dockerize this project.
Mm.
And then I was like, oh, okay, sure, I'll Dockerize it. As soon as you tell me what Dockerizing means. But the thing is, and this is the best part, I wasn't a software engineer, right? I was a IT developer engineer.
Okay.
My team didn't have software engineers, like nobody. So then, but they knew I want to be a software engineer. So like every now and then they'll give me like projects to kind of like, help me get on that path, which is cool, just cool. Then I was like, okay, well, I was still brand new.
Mm.
And then they say, I need you to Dockerize this, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay, well, excuse me. Damn, dealing with these nephews, little kids, tire me out. Yeah. And then I was like, hey, I need some help on this because, like, nobody knows. I don't know what it is. They're like, yeah, that's crazy. We know just as much as you.
I'm like, you have to do it.
Like, what? So we use this language called Groovy, which is like a derivative of Java.
Yeah, I've I've heard of it on the mishmash. It
sucks.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's where I started learning about like Docker a little bit. I was like, I've heard of cloud, but I never. I was so okay. I worked in Docker, learned a little bit about cloud. I built my own personal projects using Docker. Oh wow, this is actually pretty efficient. It's nice. I don't have to, recreate my setup every time. I can just download a container.
Docker is awesome, I will say.
Yeah, it's awesome. And so my next job, I was actually working these two jobs at the same time, but they didn't know. Sorry if you're my old boss seeing this. Hey, you caught me. So I was working at IBM as a cloud support engineer.
Okay.
So whenever people have problems with their cloud, we would help out. But
would it be like an instance that's running somewhere?
No, I mean it could be anything, like literally anything.
Okay.
But we were mainly supporting organizations, like companies, like big companies that use IBM. Like it wouldn't be just you. Yeah. You need help. No, it's like big.
my EC2 environment isn't working.
Yeah, no, you're not. You're, yeah. So, but the problem was for me is like that was just so high level. Like the disparity between what I knew and like enterprise level cloud solutions was just massive, right? So it was like I was there for 3 months and I never learned anything because most of the issues that they were having were all like similar. So it'd be like, hey, if you see this issue, just give them this template to them so they can try, right? So it was essentially like a lot of copy and pasting, going back on the previous questions, and it's like, hey, did you try this? Like, so I never really learned anything, right? But then when I started at Amazon, at AWS, Amazon Web Services, that's when I started working in the cloud because then we started building. I started for the first time building like cloud native, right? Native AWS, right? Lambda functions, using CloudWatch, CloudFormation. And man, I'm telling you, it's a whole different, like people talk about cloud, but man, they don't really know what cloud is because cloud is so crazy. It's so crazy.
So much, especially the AWS products.
It's
yeah. I remember when I first was looking at, I don't know when Lambda, I think it was Lambda, but it was when it was becoming more, everybody could access it. I put my debit or credit card down and I didn't really understand it. And it wasn't a great, it was like $30-$40. It was like,
yeah,
what's going on?
Yeah.
I canceled it. Yep. Didn't touch cloud for a while after that. But yeah, no, it is cool. And right now I'm kind of messing around with an EC2 instance on my own. And yeah, it's between that, like having access to instances where you can spin it up and do some stuff on the back end. And I'm trying to do this for my website, set up a coding environment where people can go in. But so I'm trying to. It's taking a while because I'm also trying to learn Go while I'm doing this and writing the Go for the back end. And I'm actually just scrapped it today. I was like hard reset on GitHub, and I'm gonna start from the beginning. But yeah, it is cool. Is there a specific service that you work, like you mentioned Lambda or EC2, or which one have you worked with?
I haven't worked with anything personally. Everything I worked with is just my job. So the main thing is Lambda, um, Lambda, CloudWatch, CloudFormation, but those are like metrics and stuff. Because Lambda, I mean, it's so efficient, right? Like you're only using what you need. You only get charged for
Yeah,
what
it's
you
the
use.
compute at time, right?
Right, right.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's cool. I like it. But like the way I look at it is like AWS. It's so many different tools.
Mm.
It's it's an overload, right? So it's like in the long run, it would be cheaper, yes, than doing like ever heard of Heroku?
Yeah, I've never used it though.
Yeah, so Heroku essentially takes AWS and creates functions that are like common that people use, right? And so whenever you deploy to Heroku, you're essentially deploying to like AWS, but it's easier. It's much more user friendly, right? They do all the hard work for you, the environment, all that. They set that up, right? But it costs monthly, right? If you did it yourself on AWS, it would be significantly cheaper, but it will be significantly harder. And if there were issues, you would have to do it yourself, right? So the cloud is really powerful. One, if you know what you're doing. Two, I feel like if you're a massive company or a bigger company, it's better for you to invest in like having cloud engineers and set the architecture up for you because you're gonna save costs in the long run. But if you're just like you're just experimenting, it's cool, because you're only getting charged for what you use, right? So it's like you're not using thousands. Like I looked into one of my accounts at work and like just one of like the dummy accounts, it's like 3,000 a month.
Mm.
Crazy, right? But it's like if I was my test
Enterprise,
environment,
yeah.
yeah, for an enterprise, right? But it's just a test environment though. It's like I spun it up just for a test, 3 racks, right? Now, if I actually cost Amazon that, who knows, right? That's not my problem. That's their problem. But point is, it's very expensive very quickly if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah. It makes sense. I had my first DevOps course that kind of went deeper into cloud rather than just kind of using it. So it's the same
Right.
thing. Like you mentioned CloudWatch, and there were some other log type stuff
Mhm.
that I kind of got to review. I don't do DevOps. I do machine learning, but over time,
Mhm.
I'm kind of more interested in machine learning operations, ML ops. And
Mhm.
that's a big thing. And it's one of those things where I think there's going to be more opportunity in that rather than building straight up machine learning models because
Right.
I think so. I don't know. I don't know how any of this is going to play out, but just looking at a super specific part of machine learning and AI, LLMs, so large language
Mhm.
models like
Mhm.
ChatGPT, that's going to be, I think, a handful of companies. Maybe you'll have like 5 to 10, but I don't really know that there's going to be opportunity for smaller companies to come in and
Yeah.
make an LLM because like Perplexity, that they're huge, Anthropic, and they have support from Amazon, Google.
The billions of dollars in there, like
Yeah,
if you're a little guy, you're gonna get swallowed up, like because you just don't have access. The only thing you could possibly do is if like you've created like the next algorithm, right? If it's like an ML algorithm, yes, because you don't need to be big for that. But as far as like creating an LLM like with massive amounts of data, like how you gonna get that if you're small, like
yeah.
it's just not happen.
Yeah, and then it's like there's a variety of things, but in terms of training these models, there's really two big factors besides the algorithm itself or the machine learning model, its AI model itself. It's compute, which is
Mhm.
expensive, and then
Expensive.
yeah, and then there's so it's compute and data, yeah, and then like
Mhm.
that's another issue. It's kind of they're just like OpenAI. I don't know exactly how they trained it. I know they scoured the internet, but it's not
Right.
easy to scour the internet and literally get all the data, especially now
Right.
that they've done it and they're starting to get in trouble and they're trying to
Yeah.
work out how to do it legally because people are like, hey, you can't just scoop up my data.
Yeah, because because this wasn't an issue before, people didn't have those
Yeah.
blockers, so they could have a private website that data bye bye, right? And now, if you try to do it, I mean, now there's extensions, there's all these different things that you can block, bots from crawling your website. But I mean, if you were back then and you had like somebody, I forgot what it was, but it was like a story like somebody's like personal data or something like that was searchable on ChatGPT because I mean it was a pretty big website, but it was locked. It was not locked because normally if you don't have a password or something, you can't get in. But if you don't have the robots that TXT file that blocks crawlers and stuff like that, like there's some directories, especially if you don't set your website up right. Like if you know that the direct URL, you can access it without needing to log in or something like that. So it's crazy, but you gotta adapt with the times.
Yeah, it's and then it's weird because the Europe has its own laws. They've I don't know how it works, but GDPR, so they have some sort of personal data protection for their citizens. But US, where the wild west, is like, yeah, go for it, we'll figure it out. And then,
they don't care.
Yeah, it's like, they're like, what are you complaining about? It's like I don't know what I don't know what this is, and then they take
data.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, they get Mark Zuckerberg to come to DC. It's like, how does Facebook work? It's like, oh man, this is it's not good.
Yeah. that was painful to watch. It was really painful to watch.
Yeah, it's like, it'd be funny if they just asked some IT questions. It's like, I forgot my password. Can you reset it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're also going for your AI degree, right? Your graduate degree, right? So
right.
You've been doing it for what, a year about?
No, so I started this past semester, so this fall semester. It's it should take me roughly a year. I overloaded a lot of my classes, especially in the beginning, because a lot of them are like really like they're like basic intro courses, and I'm like
knock it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna just not that. So the way I said it, I should be able to graduate next December. So I'm trying to balance out with my job. So far, it's been good. But so my brother is funny. We're in the same exact class. Like he was able to get it at the last second.
That's pretty cool.
So right, it's interesting because I'm an engineer and he's not. Okay. Well, he's a hardware engineer. I'm a software engineer, right? Yeah, he's like really into the class, right? Because he needs to be, because he doesn't really understand the concepts, right? And me, I'm just like, that's whatever, So we're taking a Python class, and like he actually has to remind me to do the assignments because like it's so easy to me. Like, he's like, hey, assignment. I'm like, okay, and I put on my computer, I just set it, right? And then go about my day. But I guess I just rely on him to give me like. Apparently, we have a midterm this Sunday. Yeah, he's my first reminder because what happens is. We're working on it, he'll struggle, and he'll call me for help. And that's when I know, okay, there's an assignment due because he's calling me, Like, apparently I have like 6 midterm assignments for this Python class. And I found out today. It's due Sunday. Didn't have no idea, but he told me, so now I'm going to go in there and
you need to make sure you take the rest of your classes with him too.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to schedule her. Like that's really what I want to do. If we could just take every single class together, like it'd be perfect.
Yeah, I don't think it would not work with my brothers. It'd be like, what?
No,
it's like, no, I'd be the one reminding them to do.
Oh, something. Okay, yeah.
It's like, you guys are dead weight. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
I know it's I enjoyed my grad degree, but also it's kind of like check the box type thing where it's like, master's degree. Now that opens up doors to different things. But has there been a class where you're like, this is kind of a pretty cool concept for your AI degree?
Yeah, the class right now is called data visualization, right? Because I'm not an expert in AI. Like I know like the concepts and like the basic, but like I really want to get like in-depth knowledge of like, hey, how does it really work, right? And we're still really starting out slow, but like we use this program. I forget what it's called. Starts with a W, but so it's like a bunch of data, and like it was pretty much like transforming the data and like moving around standard deviation, like trying to predict what. I just thought it was pretty interesting, like just seeing like okay, like statistics, computer science, like blended together. So, but this class, my brother's not in this class, right? So I took 3 classes this semester. He took 2 because I don't remember, I forgot why, but so he's not in this class. So I actually turned in one of my assignments late, and And like he doesn't take late assignments like at all. So
Okay.
he gave me a 0, and I was like, but the thing is, there's not that many assignments, right? So this 0 I got, even if I get 100 and everything else, the maximum I can get is an 89. I can't even get an A. So I hit him up. I said, hey, look, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was working. I have a job. He's like, no, can't do. But one of the assignments going to get dropped. So I'm like, okay,
Okay. Yeah.
perfect. You got me. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a cool class, but he's just kind of a hard ass.
Yeah, no, I mean, for my grad, actually, the one class that was hard, it was my lowest. It was like a B minus. It was for machine learning. And it was, yeah, I mean, so I can do math. It's not my strongest suit. So I actually did struggle with machine learning, and that's kind of ironic. I'm a machine learning engineer, but yeah, it was wow. It was a good class though. I learned a lot, and it got up to, it was like the classic machine learning models, support vector machine, k nearest neighbors, stuff like that. But that was my hardest class. A lot of the statistics courses, they were good, and I learned some stuff, but definitely not as challenging as the machine learning class. And I'm like, I don't know. I kick myself because some of those Python assignments, like I should have done so much better than I did. Yeah, my grad degree is done. I don't have to worry about it. All right.
Yeah.
So transitioning to the end of the podcast, going to ask you more fun questions. You were in South Korea recently. How was that? You have fun?
Man, South Korea is a great time. You know, there's a lot of things to see out there. There's a lot of things to do in South Korea. You know what I'm saying? If for anybody that's watching this or hearing this, you go to South Korea, you gotta go to Itaewon. Itaewon's in Seoul. It's like a little district. It's like the party district. Like I'm talking packed, crammed. It don't matter what day you go. It don't matter. She was packed. I was there for a month, and I went there like a couple times, and I was like, bro, like it's like 7. Like why are you here at 7:00? Like it's just so early, and like man, I'm telling you, it's nice, but and I've never seen so many people vomiting outside of a club. It's like every 5 person, someone just vomited. Like, they're just that drunk. And like the first one, I was like, oh, you all right? Like I went and bought her water, right? I was, oh, you okay? She was just drunk, like, super drunk. And like the second one, oh, you all right? And then like the third, I'm like, all right. Like,
I gotta stop helping people. I'm gonna be
Because I was like, why are people not helping these people? Because here in America, like, people get drunk, but usually someone's throwing up, like, maybe it's like one person, right? Maybe two. Over there, like, everybody. So I was like, why is everybody just walking? And he's like, literally, one of these guys literally pushed her. Like, she was like throwing up. He's like, get out the way. And he kept walking. I was like, whoa. But then like, I really, like everybody, it's just like, you just know everybody just throwing up. So it's like, all right. Like, but it was cool. The clubs are nice, like the music,
there's other K-pop fan?
Thankfully, there were not no K-pop there.
Okay, I don't know.
I don't listen to no, I don't listen to K-pop.
Well, I was about to say One Direction, but I know that's not even they're like an English boy band or something.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I'll say that I did karaoke there.
Okay, yeah. I know karaoke's big there in Japan.
Yeah, it's huge. Now let me tell you a little secret about karaoke though. Tell a little secret. In Japan, in Korea, right? Karaoke has 2 meanings. The one you're thinking of, right? It's singing.
Yeah.
Right? And another one, let me tell you a little backstory first. Let me tell you a little backstory.
Problematic karaoke.
Yeah. I was walking around town, I'm walking around. And me and my boy, we see this sign, right? It's like a little girl like dancing, like usually what you see at a strip club. So we're like, you know what, let's go check it out. You know what I'm saying? South Korea, let's go check it out. Walking silent, nothing, nobody, like literally nobody.
Okay.
She comes out, like this girl, like this woman, like older age, like she's dressed really nice, right? Like she looks like spectacular, right? It's like a suit, like the female version, like a blazer.
Okay, yeah.
And she like karaoke, right? I look at her, I said, there's no music. She's like, karaoke. How much? So I look at her, we're like, is this what we think it is? And then like he starts asking what he's like, um, so he's like, how much for karaoke? She's like, huh? And so she pulls out her translator, right? So, and then she takes us to a little room, right? But wait, he pays $40 for the room for the karaoke, right? So I'm a little skeptical, right? Because I'm like, okay, is this really karaoke? Like we sit down and it's like a karaoke book, right?
Yeah.
Well, okay, it's here, but like there's nobody else here, right?
Yeah.
And then so she brings out a menu, but she's like, oh, we got a special menu too. So like, let's see, what's in the special menu? You know what I'm saying? What menu? So she pulls up, and she puts it in translator. And she's like, "What do you want?" Right? And then I say, "Hey, what do you have?" Right? And then she says, "What do you need?" I was like, "Yo, she know what's going on here." So and then she was like, my friend's like, "How much? You got Koreans?" She's like, "I got Koreans. She got Russians. She got Ukrainians." Like. Crazy. And I left because I was like we ended up leaving because I like my organs to be in what I'm saying, in a strange country. So but it was crazy. Like she showed us the whole map where she's like, hey, look, I got people here. And the thing is like the regular store that you shop at, but you just would never know the workers. You would just never know. You would never know. So it's crazy out there. But like, hey, whatever they got to do to make $1, you know what I'm saying? I respect the hustle. Yeah. But South Korea is a great time. I was drunk.
Well, that's really good to know. I mean, I was in Korea for a layover, but I haven't had a chance to check it out. But I'm glad I know the second meeting for karaoke because that could get really problematic. And then, all right. One of the last things I'm going to ask you, I know you love anime. I'm not a big anime guy. Okay, you got One Piece.
Yeah, for those who are only listening to this, I got a One Piece Luffy wanted shirt. It's my boy.
Is that your favorite anime?
One Piece is definitely my favorite. Okay, well, the reason why it's my favorite is because it's the greatest piece of writing, not just fiction, the greatest piece of writing to ever exist. Sorry, your little Python books don't compare. Okay.
Yeah, I will say, like, One Piece is going to be more exciting than Python, even for me.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
My brother was into it. I remember he had a game for PS2, and it was, I forget exactly what it was, but it wasn't like the straight Street Fighter one-on-one type thing. It was still, I think you fight each other, but it's more open than that.
It was a One Piece game, or was it an anime game?
It was One Piece. I just can't remember the name. I think it was either PS2 or PS3.
Yeah, I didn't get into One Piece back then, so I probably wouldn't have known.
Yeah, it's also funny because my brother liked it when he was younger, and I remember one time looking it up, and they have like thousands of episodes. Like, this is wild.
Yeah,
it's like keeping track of this is.
Hey man, trust me, it's not long enough. Right now, it's like 1,200 episodes. Still not long enough, bro. Yeah. It's not long.
That was Dragon Ball Z. It's
that
was when I was a kid. I like Dragon Ball Z. It's like the whole Super Saiyan thing.
Yeah, sure. It's funny because I feel like you, like your character type, like I feel like if you watch Dragon Ball Z in your adult life, you're gonna think it's more stupid than if you watch One Piece. Because Dragon Ball Z is like really repetitive. Like it's like a copy and paste formula, right?
Just get stronger.
Strong enemy, just get stronger. You yell for 2 episodes to get stronger. Like, but One Piece is actually a little more complex. Like the animation looks stupid because it's like funky, goofy and stuff like that. But like the actual story is actually a well-written story. It's not just repetitive. Like Luffy doesn't just get random power-ups, right? Like he actually win using different conditions and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
All right, last question. Do you still have your swords?
I do. I had them with me, but it's in my other house. Right. So if I was gonna show, I have a nice little katana that
if it's cool, I'll put the picture I have of you. Just
I'll put
that in. Yeah. My buddy Ed just sitting in the back, like, what's going on?
I think I brought it with me. Yeah. It's just fire. I'm telling you. Hey. I'm telling you right now, get you one. You never know. Think about it. Someone might come into your house with a gun, right? But if you have a sword, think about it, right?
Bill.
You got a sword, you can move faster than they can pull out the gun. So by the time they pull it out, you slice their arm off. I'm telling you, I tried it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna hide swords all around the house.
Yeah, you never know where you about to get one. You know, you grab one off the wall.
Yeah. All right, Taz, it's been awesome. Thank you for coming on.
Hey, thanks for the invite, Adrian. Anytime you need me, I'll be here, my boy.
Yeah, hopefully we'll do another. All right, thanks everybody.